from 57.9% to 69.4%. What do you think about that? Dead silence. Okay. Okay. So, did you know that? They averted, to date, their anniversary dallies, 250 dallies. Can you read that?
There's mathematical error.
Is there?
11%, 11%,
Okay.
not 19.
Oh, okay, yeah, between 50 cents. Sorry, yeah, there is an 11, and I think it's on the case study. Oh, shoot. Okay, sorry, 11%, still significant. 11% change is still significant. But dallies averted 250. Evelyn, do you have a question? Okay. Okay. So why? So why? So in the case study, we started looking at what is the reason? What are some of the underlying reasons possibly that could have limited the number of dallies averted in Kenya? So I mentioned a bit about this infection probability number or ratio that's important in the calculation. And basically, that's a quantified measure of how risky a particular behavior is. So there's a value for that is part of the BCC dally calculation. So the argument here is potentially we could have focused on some more risky behavior that would have increased the BCC dallies averted. Could we have focused on sex with commercial partners? We know that there is a 0.43% of commercial partners among this client. It's a relative, this population. It's a relatively high average. If we could decrease this by 20%, we played around with some numbers. Could we have increased the dallies? The 100 was the original number, to 2,000 plus 2,000. Maybe. I mean, again, still probably 2,000 doesn't get people excited, but maybe there was something that we could have done there. Could we have encouraged condom use with commercial partners? So instead of reducing sex with commercial partners, increasing condom use with commercial partners. Would that have done anything? Played around with the numbers there, maybe 450. Still not a whole lot of dallies. What about focusing on reducing sex with casual partners? A lengthier intervention, potentially, that's not factored in here. We do know there's an estimate that approximately nearly 3, this target audience has nearly 3 casual partners in a year, so that's fairly high. Could have increased their risk and could have affected our BCC dallies. So a couple of things that we looked at. Maybe not so exciting, though, in terms of the potential numbers. Thoughts, questions about that?
What are you comparing the average to? You say average of 2.73 partners, which is high, relative to what?
So that would be relative to local data. I think these were all compared. This was text that was entered here relative to kind of what is on average for like DHS, Kenya, DHS, or any other kind of secondary data. Yes. So it's definitely subject to.
Or actually, it's just like based on our own opinion or thinking about this number. This is just for. This is not for those people who has care partner. Then on average, each one has 2.73. It's for all the interviewed participants.
Okay.
So even though some don't have a care partner, but on average, each one has 2.7. So that's not that low.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So, but what we do know in terms of contextual and going back to the market share is that when we looked at, again, in the questionnaire, we asked people, those who were having sex with casual partners and those who were using a condom when they had sex with casual partners, 68% of them said they were using our condoms. So what might that do when we thought about, somebody brought up the whole market share. So over 2/3 of the targeted sex acts that we're looking at are already covered by our condoms. So using our metric, what we're actually doing, and we could have contributed to that through our communication, but it's captured in a different dally in Kenya. Possibly. Okay? Questions about that? Okay. So the third country we looked at is as Laos. Oh, yes. Steve, yeah.
if we had not backed out those 68% of condom use of our own condom, that 250 would have been what?
I don't know.
I guess 7, and that's what I was thinking too, right? It's apparently 2/3, 1/3, so if you backed out 2/3,
2/3.
750 still seems low.
Does.
Yes. Right, if 68% of the condoms used were ours, then we must have backed out 2/3 of the condom use.
Right.
It was 250, then maybe 500 extra. So it still seems low.
I mean, certainly to address one of the concerns about DCC dallies would be to, instead of taking away from DCC dallies the product dallies, would be to move those product dallies back to DCC dallies. And that would inflate the number some, right?
Yeah, possibly, yeah. I mean, the mathematician is here in terms of, and we didn't look at she had worked on these calculations in different scenarios, but I think it's a good question, and I think that's what we're here to do, is to raise those questions. If we could we put them somewhere else, and would it make more sense? We didn't do that analysis here, but I think it's a good question and something that could be considered.
But
Yeah.
I have something for like every product, PSI product sold, we get some product values, also some PCC values.
Right. Right. And yeah, and that's been an ongoing discussion. How do we split it up and recognizing the contributions of each? But yeah. Yes.
There's some cost calculation of how much each dally costs when you look at product dallies. When these BCC dallies are backed out and put in the product column instead because of PSI products, is the cost also backed out? So are we able to see how expensive these non-PSI product BCC dallies actually are?
Yeah, no.
It seems like that would be something of value, so we could say these are really expensive dallies, or they're